The one that was either over the pump or that we get friends up and things like that. And then we walk out.
We're gonna spend like 5 minutes.
Yeah, it is actually a problem. Oh, you're on hold.
Oh, was your computer?
Okay, let's name a second.
No process for discussion section. No, it's fine.
No, I can see it. No,
I think that's right. 240 I have. Yes, 599 I have. Morning when I had. Morning I had this in computer. Then school something. Yeah, it's not. Right.
Wait. Good for you. And what's your head? That's okay. I mean, today is fun for people. And then we'll be for every system. I think if we please provide price. Why is it how that's so many people? And it's pretty much channel, but then outside Friday. No, well, that's just thinking so. It's all on everything. Yeah, there's first of all, this is
Yeah.
okay.
Wait, they said, we don't matter.
Yeah,
I think I'm not
I don't know.
Yeah, but then I had you
Another
that
guy. Oh, yeah.
and then I never clicked on it.
Yeah. Well, can you just sign it for Perfect. Wait, are you coming? It's on 7:10.
Today.
Mhm.
Let me check.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, nice. I was like, that is like,
I just go, can you help me?
How bad? Sorry? Yeah. Please. I couldn't see. I can figure out. Yeah, I remember.
I haven't been here yet, so I don't know.
Okay, sure. Are you gonna go?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Is that one day or the whole week? That's a one day. Wait, that's one day. What's wrong?
That is a good question.
Wait, you're free then?
Yeah, I am.
Okay, I'm just.
I know my calendar doesn't say it, but I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Wait, are you one of those things for or whatever?
I think I have class life.
Okay.
Change it. Like, no, it's not like
I can just
down.
write it.
That's one thing. Yeah, I can't do it down like that. I just put all my office hours and everything. That's why. So I go back today.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. We're gonna start this workshop, guys. Thanks for coming, everyone. Sky workshop. Hopefully, you're in the right room. First, what is this? What is Sky's No Limit? What's the workshop? What's the competition? Well, it's kind of two different things. We have these workshops, which is where you're at right now, where we're teaching you guys how to make a neural network, even if you don't have experience necessarily in making a neural network before. And then the competition is at the end of the quarter. I think I later have a date on the later slide. I think it's like March 5th. You can submit that neural network that you've made to our Sky's No Limit competition, and the top 4 people get prizes. So on advertising, it's like $500. So it's an incentive to kind of work on your AI and make it cool. Because really our goal is that, like, if you're a beginner in AI, we want to make AI accessible so that you can understand what it is, how does it work, how can you make your own. Specifically for this quarter, also last quarter, we're making an AI under the theme. So we're gonna, I don't know if you guys actually probably saw on the Discord, we've already revealed the theme, but just in case you didn't see it, we're gonna reveal the theme again. And we're gonna be basically guiding you through that in these workshops. The main thing is just, okay, it has to be kind of at least somewhat related to the theme. And also it shouldn't be like an AI that's already made, obviously. So you can't just like use ChatGPT and say, this is an AI I made. You didn't make ChatGPT, someone else made it. And you can't take like an existing AI and like fine tune it, even though fine tuning is also like an important aspect of AI. We want you guys to like basically be making the model yourself with a data set. You can use a data set you find online. So we're not asking you to make your own data set. That would be very difficult, but the AI model should be trained yourself. So what's the theme for this, or any questions on that? Okay, theme for this quarter, drum roll please. Cats out of the bag, yeah. So this is every time we do a theme that's kind of can be very broadly interpreted. There's a lot of words in this one: cats, bags, maybe the word out. What are like these words kind of make you picture in your brain? Like a cat, maybe you're thinking of, obviously a cat. Maybe what aspects do cats have? Pictures of cats. Cats online are very popular, very viral. Makes you think of like memes, maybe. Bag can be interpreted in a lot of ways. Bag, like colloquially means like money, maybe a shopping bag if you make an AI related to like shopping. Yeah, cats out of the bag. Obviously, the whole phrase together means like it's like a secret has been revealed. So maybe if you're doing some sort of AI related to like a secret or, secrets, maybe cryptography, something like that. So yeah, I want you guys to maybe talk with the person next to you about maybe any ideas or just like, what are these words when you hear them? What do they make you think of? And then maybe that'll help you think of ideas.
So like, I'm like also for the theories about the next album, right?
I have 2 people in my group. One of them can make it. Not again. No, but this time we're gonna actually do it. We have a little policy.
If you win, then
I found this data set. I found bag for money. Yeah, and it's kind of revealing secrets. I get that pretty good. It's too big. It's too big. This one's like 7 gigabytes. But I get this. It's a new part of that. I hope so. I haven't actually looked at it. I just found it. That would make it easier.
Like, so it hasn't been that whether it's fraudulent or
Yeah. And it'll be.
What did you say? Yeah.
Where-
I think that might be. Oh, no, but. Yeah. Oh, yes, yes. Oh, okay, yeah, so usually there's something to tell you like how to import it. Oh, here we go. Yeah, yeah. You can also, I don't know, I prefer to use it, but it's so cute. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I forget one.
Value import.
Out of the package. Oh, my. Be quiet for right here. Wow.
Hey,
You're gonna win.
does anyone want to like share any ideas that they had? Or are they too good? You don't want to let the cat out of the
It
bag.
definitely.
Anyone?
No.
Hers is PVD.
Yeah, you don't know it yet. That's right.
It's a surprise. Okay, yeah.
The
Yeah.
cat's not out of the bag yet.
That does make me think of maybe like also like release dates. Maybe something to do with that, like releasing something that could be related to letting the cat out of the bag. Revealing something. Reveals. You guys in the middle of talking? Any ideas? What? Oh, not really. Okay, that's fine. You have some time to think. Today's workshop is kind of about thinking and finding ideas as data sets for your project. You guys on the right kinds of ideas?
We're gatekeeping.
Okay, what with that? Oh wait, man, you forget. Okay, I meant to put the slide earlier. But yeah, there's more info about the workshops, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. And then we have a second one that's 2 p.m. to 3 p.m. So they're kind of back to back. That's just convenient for me. Usually we'll have the first meeting be kind of a catch up in case you missed the previous meetings. Now this week, obviously this is the first one, so it's not a catch up. It's just, I'm just presenting the same thing twice. If you want to stay the second time, feel free to. If you want to leave, you can also leave because it is just presenting the same stuff. But if you're here for both, I guess you get more time to work on your project. You get more time to ask us. Usually, I'll try to, it's supposed to be like a workshop, right? Like I'm presenting stuff, but then after that, you're kind of working on it in a team or in a whatever. Oh, here's the date for the submission. March 2nd, the submission is due. March might seem like it's far away, but that's really only 5 workshops left after this one. I mean, if you count, each week is a workshop, I guess 5 weeks left. And we're presenting them Wednesday, March 5th. Don't worry about the presentation too much. It's pretty low key. You just say like, here's what I did. Here's the data set I used. Here's how well it performed. And if you present your project, you have a very high chance of winning part of the $550. So I would strongly recommend it. And like I said, I'm going to be teaching you guys in these slides every week how to make a neural network using the PyTorch library. If you want to make a different kind of AI, I would strongly encourage that. That's really cool. But that's just like the specific kind of AI I'm going to be teaching. A lot of people do different AI stuff if you're interested. Any questions?
Yeah. So in this whole project and all that, will you be teaching us as well as like helping us make the AI code and all that?
Yeah, so I'll be focusing on like how does the code, yeah, not just the like we'll be going over the theoretical stuff a little bit,
Okay.
but mostly we'll be focusing on more of the code aspect.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. If you're interested in also, we have our instructional meetings, which kind of go over more of the like theoretical and like how does this work, which are at 4 p.m. on Wednesdays. Like we're not going to obviously program it for you, like we're expecting you to program it. But I think after like we explain it with our slides and like we're here to help you for like, 2 hours every week. I mean, you can probably message in the Discord if you're stuck as well. I think you would definitely be able to program it, like providing pretty clear directions, I think. Does that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I want you guys to basically, this workshop is going to be about like finding an idea and finding a data set. But in order to find a data set, which is like how an AI is trained, you kind of need to understand what to look for, right? What you're looking for basically a good and also kind of easy AI, like it's probably your first AI project, right? Or at least if it's not, then I mean, maybe you can try to do something more difficult, but you should look for lots of data. And that data has to be labeled. What does label mean is basically means it has the right answer. So when you have data like you're building a model, right? That data could be like a spreadsheet. If you're training an image model, then you would need image data. If you're training like a model that's just predicting from data points like numbers, then you would need number data. That number data would probably be in a spreadsheet like a CSV file. And what the label means is that it doesn't just have the inputs, but it also has the outputs. So let's say your model is trying to predict the weather. That's like a really common example I use. In fact, I should probably think of more examples, but I'm lazy. It's trying to predict the weather. Let's say it's predicting the temperature. And it does that by looking at, or I guess it should say it predicts tomorrow's temperature, right? Because predicting today's temperature isn't very useful. Predicting tomorrow's temperature based on today's temperature. I don't know, the pressure, the air pressure, the humidity, and whatever other numbers, right? You can think of a bunch of numbers that relate to tomorrow's temperature. What you would need to do a problem like this is to basically have a bunch of data, not only on the inputs, which are today's temperature, pressure, and humidity, but also on the outputs, which is tomorrow's temperature, basically. Because the way the model learns is that it looks at these inputs. So let's say we have 1 and the pressure is 7, the humidity is, I'm writing random numbers, right? Or if its temperature is probably like 78 degrees, right? 70 degrees, 50 degrees, right? It looks at these inputs and then it makes a random guess and it compares that to the actual. So it sees, let's say it guesses completely randomly 50. And it sees, okay, that wasn't very close, right? Or I mean, it was a little bit close, but it wasn't super close. Then it can tell that it made a wrong guess. It will adjust itself slightly and then become like 1 or like 0.1% better. So maybe instead of guessing 50, it knows it should have guessed what's closer to 78. It should have guessed like 51, right? Something slightly closer. And then it does that again for the next row. It does that again for the next row. It does that again for the next row. Or it does that again for, every row at once. And even though it's only getting, a tiny, like 1% or probably even less than 1% better each time, because you have a lot of data, those tiny percentages will add up and it'll basically get better and better. And it'll be able to work on data that isn't even in the data set eventually. It will learn some sort of rule or correlation between the inputs and the outputs over time. So for that reason, your data needs to be quite a lot. Like in order of like at minimum a couple hundred, but I would recommend, around 1,000. If you have several thousands, that's really good. It depends also on your problem. If your problem is very complicated and there are lots of like kind of specific things that might happen very rarely that need to be factored in, you probably need more data. If your problem is pretty simple and there's like an obvious correlation between input and output, you probably do it with less data. So the labels for the data, so you need the output, not just the inputs, and you need lots of data. The second thing is to consider what kind of problem your AI is doing. And generally we see 2 kinds of problems, which is regression and classification. So that sounds like complicated words, but really regression just means predicting a number in a range. Or literally any number. So for the temperature, that's regression, right? It could predict 84, It could predict 78. It could predict 50.25. It could predict any number. Classification is different because it's predicting a set of categories. So in this example, it gets a picture of a dog and it predicts dog, cat, fish, right? Those are three distinct categories. You can't guess a number like 7.2 or something. That wouldn't really make sense if it's predicting cat, dog, or fish. So consider when you're looking for your data, the format of data, how much data there is, if it's labeled, and then what kind of problems can you use this data set for? Any more questions? All right. Yeah, so this is also I've added to talk about. So we basically create this theme, right? Cats out of the bag to inspire you guys about different ideas you might do. But that being said, you might think of an idea and find that there's no data set for your idea, which is probably like the most common thing that we see in this competition. So consider that every idea that you make has to have a data set for it to work. And whenever you look at a data set, that actually might give you more ideas in itself. So I would strongly recommend to very early on start looking for data sets and also to keep several different ideas in mind. If you hit a wall with a certain idea where you can't find a data set, look for a different data set or look at different data sets and see what ideas those data sets give you. You should explore many different options rather than getting stuck on kind of one data set. Honestly, that's like most people in these workshops and competitions, I would say that's where they get stuck on is the data set, which is kind of funny because a lot of times data sets are as simple as just going online and downloading them. So it shouldn't be difficult, but just deciding on an idea and like figuring out which data set you want to do can be difficult. You want to give it some good thought, obviously. Make sure it has enough entries. Like I said, make sure it's labeled, but don't get too stuck on one idea. And then when you can't find a data set, just give up on that idea, find a different one. It's totally fine. Okay. Yeah, so now more of the workshop part. You guys will kind of work independently. For the Sky's No Limit, I'll be walking around. For the Sky's No Limit competition, you guys can work in teams of up to 4 people, or you can work by yourself. It's up to you. I found teams tend to work pretty well for like winning. And just remember those 2 things. You want a large data set, and you want to keep in mind like what your problem is. Is it regression? Is classification? So think of ideas, look online for data sets, particularly the website Kaggle is a good website for data sets. There's also the UCI ML repository and Google Dataset Search, which is not like Googling it, but Google has a service called Dataset Search. Also, if you just Google, data set for whatever, it'll probably show up. Okay. I'll be coming around. Maybe you guys could tell me your ideas secretly, so you don't want to let the cat out of the bag. And I'll tell you if I think it's a good idea, if I think there's data sets for it, et cetera, et cetera. Maybe think of several different ideas you can. Okay. I think that's it. Are you guys? Yes.
I think.
Yeah, it's not if you. Maybe I'll give you guys a bit more time.
Okay, so you want to give a like that? No, we're going to. So you have to be.
Yeah. Like, I don't know, so like break it down. Yeah, and those could be the, yeah. It's also very like, if it was, that's why I kind of find that. No, like, you can stay up. To find out. That's like, if I don't. The authors.
Yeah.
Like, just for some kind of person look like a company. We're trying to be like, we can see like how stuff, like what we should do for the data type, like. Yeah. Like, this is our. Like, I swear, like, this is what we're taking. Yeah. So it's good or what? I'm not. I don't know what I mean.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's like,
Yeah, I guess. Yeah, I was thinking of that. I'll think about. But I don't know, like general, like getting out. Yeah, because you just see like we can do it. You just give it a small presentation for them. Yeah. Like, you know,
you catch more this. Because it's just location, it's probably just a map.
Yeah, like there was a lot of like dragged and. Thank you.
But you need what it is.
Okay, your chance of sending.
So Google like this. Like that. I think it's really important. If you really want to do your idea, I think your life is if you're yeah, we've had people interpret the theme very broadly because they really want it. So if here's an idea that you really want to do, but it's not super related, we allow it.
But then I'm like, I just like phrase it as, you know, it's like, but like I phrase it as like basically this is the list of
Because they use it like
or you could also do like this for what the
where
there's a lot of what I think is actually
I mean, there's other ones.
yeah,
I've already had like information about that. Yeah, name.
yeah,
It's
like
like
so you might have reached back and found the whole like found
but yeah, so I mean, do like
if you find a lot of things going on.
yeah.
Other cases where you
Probability of
a patient and you like records of the patient.
that instead of name of
Are they stick with like this?
so that would be like a ring. You would have the name
Sure of like
You need all that rainbow back.
yeah.
So what you call it?
I still put it.
Ben.
That's like in that water.
I gave you.
Okay, there's like,
I'm not really sure about the app.
there's a
Yeah,
mechanism.
like, I think that's.
Where you have like,
Or it'd be like.
if there's
The
person
person.
water.
Oh, yeah.
In
But
United
do you know like
States,
which one would be better? It feels like this.
and it
Actually,
Where?
classification, the way it's classified, both classification, it definitely does.
year of COVID. And
But
then,
actually does give
yeah,
a quantity.
yeah, so it's pretty
So you can use that quantity and say,
Sam.
in fact, fitness meeting, all known levels are just the regression and predicting what is confidence that it is this class. So, yeah. That's maybe what you get.
It's hard to navigate, but it has to be like the regression of, let's say.
It's regression.
And this one's like a number.
All that.
Yeah, like the
So it could be what, it could be in the
So you
moment.
Oh, no. I'm gonna get it.
Stick to you.
Yeah,
What if you
it's like, it's more than like 60%. Than
Yeah,
like,
it's
or maybe there's one more error.
Let's do California.
Yeah.
People wanna have to.
You have any questions?
Probably a lot.
Oh,
I'm like that.
oh.
And then, okay, that's it.
One out like the we're supposed to make a model for it.
So let's see.
Yeah. Yeah, the data. So something like chatter. Yeah, it can be basically a
Just
eBay.
this, we have to think.
So it should be a model that exists. Yeah.
If you're like.
You also can't take like a model that exists in
What
this
is
place.
this?
I like process that like help it done, but it's not it's like, oh,
Oh, what have you
I
done?
need to be like, that's the way to look at it.
They have data very defined.
well, oh yeah, you do. Okay, we have another one that we can do. Works the one that we That's a second.
It's probably the same.
So you have
What
It's like
so
basically
Fishing data set.
the workshop this is the workshop how to get one every week. And the workshop you make your own neural network AI. And then at the competition you put in the competition neural network we work on the top 4 people get guys which it's just we just look at people a bit of their AI things. There was really cool things that like just be because they make it themselves. Especially for people who are beginners. Also try to how related to the speed of the people scores. Yeah.
Can I get some water?
Yeah.
Got it. What do you wish you
Really, it's however you want to. So
And so with this, maybe you pick up a couple of ideas, or maybe just look online.
Yeah. I don't know. Where's the data set? There was the data set.
Wait, wait, more than I think I already know. 1 to 2 p.m. and 2 to 2 p.m. They're 2 but the second one, the first one is just like usually meeting. So the second one is where we're going to be covering. We got this. So this week is different because the first week is like and then if you're doing the competition, What makes a good AI? Because you want you to like try to think your own AI, or maybe you probably don't know anything about it yet. It's mainly data. You need a lot of use the global grid.
It's not.
We can label
It's like stealing drugs.
so there still has passing data. But part of it. So that even the data temperature, pressure, humidity, and then also the that is a little bit in our course.
Another website,
And then when you train your model, show it today. And you did. At first, it just makes a random guess. So but in data that it says 78. And so we can tell obviously we get the wrong, right?
But then
On
you can go up to 70.
the model just slightly 1%, 190, it gets slightly better.
Even if one of the captures spread, it's slightly better. So that's how
And then that maybe we can call you 1% better. Then you can at least eventually you put it 1% better, 1% better, 1% better. Adds up.
the best thing that we could do, is not
So that's why we want to have a lot of data because otherwise the model will What's the bigger problem? Obviously, if there's something like rare, you might be more data. It's like more simple and obviously correlated to funding less. Certainly, if formats so you can have data in numbers. That's why one of the key things. It could be data that images. Images is like a little bit harder because images have a lot of data in them. And then the hardest would probably be like text. Yeah, because
I don't want to buy I'm gonna find one right now.
yeah, if you want to think about your problems, so look at a data set and then you want to see what kind of problem it is. So any number in a range and classification. Basically here, I'm just saying, think of a lot of different ideas. Oftentimes they'll think of an idea and then you can't find data sets for it and then people will give up. That's like probably the most common mess up. I feel like that's what they're thinking. Okay, let's just switch to different ideas. But people are kind of hold on to ideas or kind of switching their more switch your view, people like switch it. Yeah, kind of rush through it. So.
And he said you
and we have that data. No, we those numbers would be converted right instead of data, or it would be converted into like data that's like like a measurement graph. Maybe one way is literally amount. So let's say you have a number one that gets converted in a graph where there is one spot. Number two, it gets converted to a graph with two spots. Number seven, it would be converted to seven. Then that radius to the neural network.
What should we do for food production?
Also, you use like a slightly different neural like model of the neural. It's not super different. And then they go like, I'll stop it.
Yeah.
Data now.
Okay. Using that, so you can still find your own data sets and see how well it does in every sense. How
So we're using that.
If nothing happens, we're good.
and that would work well. Then which is basically the fun. They just write the hypercode and stuff and just like reduce like I think I remember seeing. I mean, I'm not saying full numbers that's what I've seen on this patient. One yeah, yeah, your first step is always finding like if you look at the ethnic portrait, like the controls, right?
For accidentally recorded this. That's you. Look at this.
So
They want us here.
Have you figured out your? This is like I'm.
Yeah, here they do that.
Oh my god! And then Anthony, so I don't know.
But they literally take the ethnic sticks.
I influenced, but that way I brought
So you, like these numbers. It's like thinking about it before. Then you can need more of the things that's converted.
So now
they added data.
That's exactly between the converted image here.
They're very good to be converted.
Again, call it back. And that's what they're saying. So just basically the same thing as the incident. Look, we need to have a
That's basically like what you should just have after yeah, you're like
Even if they're it's a different models that they take data and then they learn the data.
okay. I'm looking at
And so this combination you can do any machine. Yeah, it's for like but I'm gonna be teaching artificial networks or just say most
Yeah.
no the difference is that I'm on artificial network they like
and I just looked at them like,
New York station data. I mean, like if you consider, yeah, and also you basically just in the hybrid artificial neural you see like layer one equals these like wait, replace that code to say look, layer one equals these are part of
Here's the real.
because this is kind of very but just each neuron does
AI so fit.
I can cover that more right now for data sets. I wouldn't get super hung up on like the details of like, oh, how am I going to program this? Because like
to show
you
you.
don't find a data set.
Everyone is human.
That's what my mom does.
But I know I also find a data set useful.
Yeah, it does. But you always have to.
Okay.
But I learned the thing you gave me. I'm struggling to
That's that's yeah.
I have an idea.
I guess that
Okay, we got so good. Or next I don't want Sure. So we're gonna look at this. Okay, next.
Oh, like yeah. They maybe want to see that doing a theme you haven't worked on it, or like it's not like a project that you've already worked on.
Yeah.
then that might be like a like news
And then does it bring it?
like the data set.
Oh, and
To go.
oh my god, the day of our midterm.
Yeah, it's gonna be difficult. They have to be like have the same inputs, right? So the weather, like a lot of pad,
Yeah, maybe
that didn't have humidity.
Let me ask my mom.
Bro, that's the long weekend.
readers that are promote.
Okay.
What are your data sets?
Well, I was just thinking like, cause, this one, for example, okay, mine's like, that if you're giving a gift, I don't know books at all, but like all my friends do. And like, I really can't think of a gift.
Okay.
So
There's
it gives me like.
635.
what they
Ooh,
like.
recommend.
So like, for example, this one has genre, but it doesn't have a rating for a book, but then another one has one has a rating.
Oh, so you match the name of the book to the rating.
Yeah, it's moving like, sure, but then kind of learning it.
Yeah, yeah. Like the issue with that is, what is your mindset like
I
rating?
think she has.
No, it's give me a recommendation.
She can ask her mom. Last time they were
Whether
like.
a certain person is more,
Yeah.
is more information. Because then you can use data about just like what books they like.
Not because something that they can like ask, like, and they can be like, oh, what genre do you like? And they put a genre. And then they go to the.
Oh, yeah.
And then it was like, okay, so would you like it be like?
The thing is, that's just searching for data. Well, wait,
Okay.
that's not really like making an AI model. That's, you would want like your yeah.
Already.
It's also difficult because there's a lot of things, right? Like you can maybe say, oh, look at things like, you know, it's like on whether or not like what you know.
Honestly, I was just
So they would there's
like making sure. Okay, what?
yeah, exactly. It's
And also, like kind of outputs and stuff.
yeah, because it's like one person who likes fantasy and another person who can't like fantasy.
Yeah, and then my tag to
Yeah, if you could find like some other inputs from the model, how high it allows.
That's all that's all for
That could be done, but maybe do some of the latest books, like what is it giving to
And the little or the little bit different.
Actually, are using you the data.
No,
So,
I thought we do a bench on that. Oh my god, that is adorable. Wait, the fried chicken.
That's an idea.
Oh my god. Wait, that's your dog. Is that your dog?
okay, yeah, it's good.
Yeah, so I have like two ideas. Both are related to healthcare.
Because of like.
So one of the data sets that I really like is
I think it's a little bit.
so like I myself had a couple of surgeries of the eye, so I know about this eye surgeries and everything. So really often surgery. I would really would like to what happens. So this is my last year class also basically. One of the questions was about eye track. And then a lot of person's personality and mental state.
Let's go.
So that's that I ran
No, we can go. Yeah, let's go straight.
this device is just there for checking about what kind of mental state a person is basically in, right? Checking the brain, to see if the brain and all of this working in tandem. It's like muscle is working in the brain, right? It's working properly. This is like the doctor's right? So
The measures brain signals.
Exactly, but manages brain signals, and it has a shitload of data.
This is the data.
It has a
I mean,
shitload
this
of
is
data.
this is
So what I was
website.
thinking
But
is
how do
I
I
can
download
create a
it?
model of this.
It's a fun thing.
With, I can create, I
I
can
don't
use
think
this data.
yeah.
So then I
you
can,
get your own, like,
you know,
data set website.
make
I don't
questions out of
see
it,
it.
basically.
You see
if I give it
But how do we
data,
download it?
use this data,
Oh.
make questions out of it.
We go down
For
the
people
one
who
thing.
don't know
Yeah.
much
And we
about
can download
this,
this. Their own
thing.
process.
For example, if you have, for example,
They're making a website.
if you're thinking something or something, then how do we
Wait, what about
react
over
when you're
here?
thinking?
Yeah.
Okay. Or like it's like blood pressure. Like blood pressure monitor is where you see the pulse rate, right? You see the pulse rate. Right? You
You're coming.
Yeah, so you see the pulse rate.
Like, it's
Right?
one for you.
There is no pulse rate. The person is there. Right? And if you see high pulse, like pitching high pulse, and all that, that is the thing that this thing non-relevant pulse rate. Basically, right? It's not going to happen. So I can use this data to create something like that. Is that a good idea?
Yeah, he said. You go back.
Yeah, I just I would like that you have the output in the data set. So what is
Maybe I'll take
what is it-
and also add
what like
my
numerical or
like-
categorical thing is it
Also,
predicting?
This is their data set website. You know what I'm saying? They're not gonna give it to
Like,
me.
I would also say it's like probably somewhat.
I don't know, maybe like, you know how they
Oh,
like,
I
filtered out by the words.
So it has data about
They were
the
like,
eye.
on the website, so they were like-
It has data about the eyes.
So whatever you
So
have to do,
basically,
they'll do it, but it's not gonna be.
I
made in
I state, basically I state, eyes closed, eyes open. It has data about those three things. And yeah, something like that. And it's the best part about this is this is a whole CSV file. I just have to copy paste this file and make questions out of it. If I put it in layman terms, this is my data.
If you try.
I'll make some questions out of it.
What do you mean by questions?
For example, like I've analyzed this data even more and more in depth of this data and all that, and trying to understand what this data is exactly giving you. Okay.
Okay.
So after I do that, I can, every data set is used basically as a model in which the person gets to know something, right? Gets to know output of something, right? So, like for example, ChatGPT, you input a question, you input a prompt, and you get an output, right? And ChatGPT does that because it has a lot of data sets involved in it, right? For example, if I write something in ChatGPT, it will answer me just because it has a lot of data inside it already. It does not know anything about its own or its own, right? It knows everything because of the data. So I just want to read something.
I mean, to be able to answer like natural language questions, it's like very difficult, and I would say very expensive because you need like hundreds of GPUs. I think what you could do is take a model that input. I think that data. I mean, I'm just using the example of eyes closed and open. I think was in there, right?
Yeah.
So maybe it takes the EKG signal, right? The signal of the brainwave, and it can predict what eyes open or closed. I think especially if it's your first time using a neural network,
Yeah.
I think then you could start off with something like predict if their eyes are open or closed based on the signals that the EKG. Which I don't really know that much about like brains, but I'm not even sure that like obviously that's not like a probe into their brain, right? It's a single neuron. So you might not even be able to do that, right? Like there's a limit to how much brain waves you can probably send with that device.
Yeah. And this is one of the ideas that I like. And the second idea that I like is basically
If you use this in one of the orange pieces. Like orange pieces.
not just like genetics data set basically. Yeah. Like for example, I don't know if you know that, like Stanford Research basically uses genetic data sets of people to predict that if a family member, for example, if a family member has cancer, the closest family member has a 50% chance of having the same kind of cancer. So they do that by using the genetics data sets of the family.
Okay, that's a really good. I think that's a good one too. So your model inputs would be maybe their genetics and features.
Yeah,
of the
I'll probably have to see like
and the output would be do they have
No, the output would be percentage of, what percentage of possibility of or they of having the cancer. Not it doesn't matter the same kind of cancer or no, because then it would need a lot more information.
Oh,
and all
okay,
that.
that's percentage.
Just
Yeah,
percent cancer, you know, okay, the person height is this, weight is this, age is this type of cancer, this type of chromosome and all that. And when I press run the code and all that, it should just give me the percentage of the closest member in the family and the percentage that this person has cancer or will
Yeah,
have cancer.
the percentage canceling is that's super dope. I think that's a good idea.
Thank you.
Yeah, you could probably relate it to that other bag.
Yeah.
TATR or TATR used in TAT was that a letter case?
Yeah.
Overall patient activity. That's the same.
So gives it.
Yes, it gives a passive.
That's good.
See, someone wanted to give me this one. Such a reason.
Oh, no. Sorry,
Yeah, that's very common.
Yeah.
What are the inputs like the magnitude of? Yeah. Education, work life. That's all you do with the relationship. I can work the pictures now. Where are you from? Like,
Because I'm challenging because I still
It's like we can add.
yeah, I would say, I mean, it's really bad money. So shopping bags, money bag.
I mean, you can do it because
Really bad.
yes.
I would be careful with the race of the next ones.
You downloaded it. I think
Like models industry, they want to like with those categories because it's not good. Like your data set is whatever the people who made the data set recorded. So if those people record a data set that has certain biases with regard to race or sex, like your model will reflect those biases. Your data set will never be a perfect representation.
It would count. I wanted to die. That sounds horrible.
So depending on, yeah.
Wait, like, should I do that for a different reason?
But that could be a great answer to do
Like, how hard are you?
well,
But,
Did I make it there?
did
I literally doing. You know how like people have like give us the favorite like not because she has a whole pen. I'm trying to figure their balance on it. Lyrics or whatever. I think it might be cool to create a predictor for that. Like connect.
was too hard.
but what would be the inputs that it would predict?
Her past lyrics.
Ooh. What you could do is you could try to make something that generates
I'm glad you
like
know.
Interesting.
I appreciate it. Look, you see, you only have that, but guess what?
The data would be Taylor Swift lyrics,
So.
and then try to make it similar.
Yeah, like I mean, too, but I wasn't here.
Yeah. The issue is, I want to say this. I want to say this. In general, for guys, you guys should consider that for your model, the inputs can be different types, right? Like numbers, it could be images, it could be text. I would say the easiest models are ones that just take numbers directly as input. So like temperature, like the temperature model there, which is taking directly a number. Slightly harder than that is taking images, because images, they're kind of visual. I would say they're not like super much more complicated, but they are a little bit more complicated. Because you can ultimately convert the image pixels to numbers, so it does work out, but it's a little bit more complicated. The most complicated would be text, because even if you convert the text to numbers, text has like certain semantic meaning. Like the letter A means different things depending on where it is. That kind of makes it more difficult for the model. So yeah, I would say you can do text, but it's generating this.
I think we're on the next step yet. So.
I mean, you're taking the class.
This is our main one.
Here. Yeah. There's no text generation. It's like when you do the refinement of that.
Are you gonna use it for your final?
No, I'm saying like, Basically,
Yeah,
it-
no,
remember
that's-
to- yeah, it's not.
I have time.
You have no foundation, right?
Yeah,
You-
Jesus
you-
Christ.
Wait, hold on. What is it based on?
Weather, temperature, drought level.
I think it's doable though. Yeah. Don't expect like ChatGPT level results. And
That's not
honestly,
weather.
the data set is taken swiftly, right? So I don't know how many slots they should make.
Like, I looked at, sorry. When,
I wasn't the other one.
I looked at it.
You know how you have to take one before.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
So you can't.
Like,
But-
yeah.
Would you?
Yeah, consider this a distinct song as it looks like. What some yes, this one actually.
Oh.
Never mind.
They look like 64 like.
So like 40.
We did like.
Then,
Okay, data set of all predictive. Actually, I just thought you could make it simpler rather than trying to like generate news.
Yeah.
Including like where it looks at a lyric and guesses what they wrote when it types it in. Like, or just what the.
I mean, the prize comes out. It's no way for them to.
I was telling you.
It just be like, there's cats. Cats.
Perfect.
This is.
The album is the bag.
Okay, we'll be starting the second workshop in like 5 minutes. Just, yeah, 2:05. Does anyone have any questions from the previous workshop also? That I didn't get to?
We should make where he is
What are the inputs to project?
or it's like required.
Yeah, we're doing orange right now. Like everyone, the second one.
Like two bigger country.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that looks like a word. I mean, this one seems like, this is what they call like a simulated data set. They kind of make values. Which is taking a little bit of time. It's up to you if you still use it. And that does mean that you could definitely make a model from them because they had to generate a monthly revenue from algorithms. And it says average spending per customer. I feel like if you just multiply the number of customers with the average customer spending and you get the revenue, right?
Just a practical.
So you can do this one. I think it would be like if you just want to make a model and see that it works. I think this would be
Are you
great.
gonna?
No, I'm
It's your first model anyway.
Are you gonna walk them?
and do whole first.
It's
I don't know if that's. Okay.
You've seen.
It's going well so far.
I should be able to respond. This is nice. I need to do my PhD first.
yeah. It's
Wait,
if you want you get the same work on it. Okay.
You're holding my time at 30? Where? Oh, right. I don't know why. You know where it is? I can't go. You know where it is? Yeah.
Yeah.
What if I know what's going on? Oh, someone lost their phone. Well, that's
Book numbers.
who might not.
Yeah. Now.
I just know. Oh, maybe. Let's go.
You left this one.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll just, I mean, I'll be here for another hour and a half, so
Okay.
I'll just hold on.
Is there ID in the back?
Oh, there is.
So we come back every Wednesday here?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah,
Have you guys been to the other meetings?
Sonia.
Yeah.
Do you guys know Sonia?
No.
No. Okay.
For next week is the beginning from 1 to 2. That will be the like I reviewed this.
Yeah, it's kind of gonna be, I'll see who comes usually and I ask like, what do you guys want to review? What do you guys want to work on? And I kind of more freeform.
Oh,
Usually if like it's all new people, who
Yeah.
sometimes it is, then I'll just go through the slides again. It kind of depends. So
and
I
then-
would maybe recommend like 2 p.m., but if you can't make it,
do you recommend to use PyTorch or Keras?
I recommend PyTorch. Oh yes.
The other day was running.
Yeah.
That was, yeah.
And then when you use like data, actually like different information, like so it's like literature training.
Yeah,
It's like those like
So it depends on what you're formatting. If you're using images,
you're reading.
oh, then you want to use like PIL, Python image library. But you basically load the images using that. You get to turn them into like PyTorch tensors, because you're using PyTorch.
Yeah.
And then from that, that's your data set. But you also split it by training sets. We'll talk more about that next week. It's like data we're talking about next week.
Yeah.
All right, thank you. Thanks for coming.
Still doing like 2.
That's what one of the limit one.